and welcome to Money9. The big news is PhonePe has allotted ESOP worth rupees 1500 crore to all its 2200 employees. ESOP not only create wealth for employees but also include employees in its growth plan. To talk more about ESOP, joining me today is a very special guest, TV Mohandas Pai. He is Chairman Manipal Global Education. He is also former CFO and CHRO at Infosys. Mr. Pai, do you think ESOPs bring about greater ownership of employees at India Inc.?
I think so because for India Inc. and for every corporation, there is a major problem. How to align employees' interest with the corporation's interest. How to make sure that your best people stay with you. And for the best people to stay with you, they must feel wanted, they must feel rewarded. They must feel that if they perform better, they will be able to be rewarded better. And the best alignment that comes for a listed company or a company that will be listed is to make sure that they get some stock options. And if their performance results in the company doing very well, as evidenced by the stock price, they will get rewarded very well. So there's a direct correlation between the reward and their performance over the medium to long term. So I think it's important for companies to do that alignment and give people stock options. And second, it's difficult to pay people very well because, if you pay somebody very well, especially in India, others will demand this person is getting this, why don't you give it to me? So if you have an incentive-based program based on ESOPs, give somebody more ESOP because they contribute better or they're more valuable, then I think it becomes much more acceptable. And the third, employees also take a risk on the upside, correct? It means that if I'm employed in a corporation which is listed or about to be listed, if I get a stock option, the company does very well, I make a lot of money. The company does not do well because of my performance otherwise, well, I forgo something. So there's risk sharing. For all these reasons, I think stock option is a very, very good mechanism to reward and retain and attract good employees.
Mr. Pai, making employees get rich should be a universal corporate agenda. But why is it that employees get the benefit only in a few companies and that too in a few sectors?
Well, it depends on the philosophy of management because, in India, many managements are very feudal. They think that, like somebody told me once long ago, Mohan, you are only a naukar. It was a Punjabi family company. They said you are a naukar. I mean, naukar means, you're a servant, right? Or, employee. So they don't value people. Now in software companies, in high-tech companies where they value people, they want people to do well. They want to share in the wealth that they do. In many companies, they think that people are to be bought. They pay them well or pay them reasonably. They'll all come. It happens in an economy where there are very few options. For example, in Silicon Valley startups, stock options are very essential. If you don't give stock options, good people don't join. And you have to give a lot of options for people to attract them, right? So in India, the culture is very different, but very good companies and very companies, the high growth sector, try to do this. And second, you need to have a currency which is valuable. Now, if you are a listed company with low growth, your currency is not valuable. If you are a company which is not listed but don't aim to get listed, then you have to have a shadow stock option plan, which means cash outflow. You may not like it. So I think it all depends on circumstances. But I would say for high growth companies, for companies in highly competitive spaces, if you want to attract very good people, giving stock options will certainly be a competitive advantage.
Continuing your point, we have seen a string of ESOPs in, especially in startups, and startups are considered as the source of growth for the country, and they need to retain the talent also. So, how effective do you think are ESOP in retaining the talent in the country?
I think startups are giving a lot of stock options because they want to attract, retain people, and they want to reward people, and people who join them also expect stock options. So I think it's become a de rigueur for everybody. Everybody is doing it. A great majority is doing it, and especially for high quality talent. And I think it's happening. And people who join startups know they're taking a risk because many of the startups may not get funded in future. They may just wind up. So they know that the cost of being in a startup, it does not get funded is high. So they want the rewards also to be high for them to take a risk. And many of the startups are given money. Remember, in Infosys, we created more than $1,000 millionaires. We created more than 20,000 rupee millionaires long ago. And we are the first large company to give a large number of stock options to everybody. And I think it created a pull for people to join. And many of the people who got that money became entrepreneurs later. And giving stock option, allowing people to make decent money, will also enable people to take risk and create an entrepreneurial system, which is good for the country and good for the ecosystem. Because once you have some money in the bank and your basic requirements are secure, then you think of becoming an entrepreneur and take greater risk in your life. So I think it's extremely important that stock options become a part of compensation in startups, and it is helping many people and is working fairly well.
Mr. Pai, my last question is, what are some of the best practices that should be followed while offering ESOPs?
Well, some of the best practice is to make sure the staggered vesting, that everything doesn't vest in 1 year because it has to be done. Maybe you give a discounted stock option to make sure that people are in the money. So right when they join, they don't get it at the last price. They get it at discounted price so that they feel that is really valuable. Because in India, many young people don't value it. They don't understand it so well unless they see the value. And the third is to create liquidity for the stock options. It means that whenever people want to sell their vested stock, there should be liquidity, availability for somebody else to buy, so they know that is real money, is not just paper money, and they can always encash it. And you got to make sure that the stock options have value. And for that, you must have a very strong growth path to make sure stock options have value. If you don't grow, options don't become valuable, then everybody gets disappointed and hits you very, very badly. So I think the best practice are make sure that you create a structure which is employee friendly, at the same time protecting the corporation, which gives them reward on performance, and which also ensures that for the risks that they take, maybe in the form of a lower compensation or some sacrifices they make, or higher work quantum of work, they get some reward at least, even if things go bad.
Thank you so much, Mr. Pai, for your time. Thank you for being with Money9.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Good to talk to you.